Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and I would love to know more about you. Maybe if somebody recommended you, I would love to know that. And what you're stitching, so we can share some stitching kind of happiness. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. You know how much I appreciate you every single time you get a chance to stop by. So thank you. And of course, you know, I always want to know what you're stitching. Alrighty, so I have a good usual lineup of stitches to show you. With the start of May, I did kind of jump right into my I Spy challenge, and I think I got 5 out of my 10 prompts completed. So I am well on my way. And I have to say, this is the first month that I have like planned them all out ahead of time, and that kind of feels good. You know, I'm a planner to a point. Now that I've gotten older, when my kids were young, I was a planner beyond what you should plan. But now I kind of like to plan, but go with the flow. So, but this has been good. So hopefully I'll be able to show you some of that. And I have 2 stitchy finishes, one totally expected, one not expected, so I'm excited about that. And I am going to start with a couple little quick fully finishes. Oh, I wanted to check my book actually. So I have a plan this year. We'll see how it goes. I turned 55 this year, so I thought, well, you know, 55 starts, you know me, I kind of start all the time anyway, so I'm already at like 29 starts, and we're even half through the year, so that wouldn't be a challenge necessarily. And finishing 55 pieces probably would have been a little bit of a reach. So I thought, well, how about fully finishing 55 pieces, because I have that whole drawer of stuff. And so with the 2 I'm going to show you today, I'm a little bit behind, I'm not gonna lie. I'm only at 15. So that one is a little bit lagging, and I have the stuff. I can get 55 with what I have, but some of it I'm waiting for other finishes, and you know how it goes. It just doesn't happen, because then I start stitching and I'm like, oh, I meant to finish today. So the first one is a few days late considering it's May 10th, but you know, I'm showing it now, you know, rather than June 10th, so I can put it out for a few weeks. I completed the well, I haven't completed all. I think I have 2 cottages left. I had planned to stitch these for my mom. I was stitching these for my mom, but where my mom is right now, extra stuff gets her agitated, so I don't want to make her upset, and so I keep them here. And so what I've done is I wanted to do basically, and you're gonna notice it's not even, I had picked out like a little frame that she could clip them on and so on and so forth, which I don't really use, because up here in my craft room, every spare flat space has got stuff on it. But I do have my shelves, so I did decide, since they're naturally leaners anyway, otherwise they'd be clipped, I just put them on the shelf and they lean. So I think I have all summer done, fully finished, so I'm good for a little bit, but I need to finish April, which I had started, and there was one more I needed to stitch. It might be March actually, so I want to get those done hopefully by next year, so all 12 are done. And at some point, if my mom would like something pretty in her room, then we can certainly transition them over to her. I still have the frame and everything, so that's what it looks like. I did all of the called for colors. This is, oh, it's the back side of 18 count vintage country mocha. I accidentally started them on that, and I think June, which is my mom's birthday, I accidentally then did it on the right side. So, but that's okay. That's kind of nice, because that's my mom's birthday month. So that's what it is. And for the most part, what I've been doing is I've been pulling out whatever color I can find that's dominant, very often in the house. I went back and forth. Did I want pinks, or did I want another pastel and do like a purple? But looking through, and I don't have an extensive cotton fabric kind of supply, because I'm not a quilter or sewer of any sort. So I kind of just accumulate things as I go. If I get a chance to go to a Joann's, or sometimes I'll just buy some online. I looked at this. This is pretty close, and I went with this one. This one now can go on the shelf, and we'll be good to go. That's the first full finish. The second one, some of you are always, if you're new to me and I talk about scrapbooking my pieces, I usually will get questions like something like, oh, what does that mean? And I am a paper crafter, have been since I think 1990. It's definitely slowed down because stitching has taken over, but I have found that with all of my stitching finishes, there's only so much space for it. And at some point, what happens to all of it? So a good amount of it, a good portion of it will be put in scrapbooks. And this one is an easy one. If you're looking to scrapbook pieces, if you stitch something that's almost the size, it's kind of like if you find something for a 5x7 frame and it fits in perfectly, you're like, yay. Well, this pretty much fit perfectly into an 8.5x11 page. This is On the Beach by Stitchrovia. And, you know, super, super easy. There's interfacing on the back of this. I cut it down. I did keep a little bit of the fabric because it kind of goes with the whole sand theme. That was why I chose it. And you'll notice I did offset it. Originally, I had it where all four sides were even. And if I was going to frame this or something or other, yes, excuse me, they all would have been even. But I want it in the scrapbook, and I do like to offset things when I go in the scrapbook. It just adds a little bit more interest. You know, your eye will flow, and you'll actually flow with the water to a certain degree, I feel like, on this one, and that's kind of what I wanted your eyes to do. So when you're flipping through the scrapbook, that's hopefully what the kind of visual you get is. And if I'm trying to think, if I had another beach one that was similar size, that would be really nice. I don't know if I do, because then I probably would maybe put this on one side of the scrapbook so that, and you would continue maybe on the flip side here, you'd have it and your eyes would just go one way to the other. This, for my Stamping Up friends, is Tempting Turquoise cardstock. Now, I did get asked a question about, well, what if you decide you want to display these somehow or other now that they're in the scrapbook? And that's a really good question. I mean, I've obviously committed to cutting it down. So, you know, wrapping it around something and so on and so forth is kind of out of the picture at this point. But the general sizes of the scrapbooks are, like, this is 8.5x11, this cardstock piece. There's 12x12 cardstock pieces. The 6x8, although nowadays I feel like you can get a lot of different frames, might be one that's a little bit more difficult. But if, for example, if I had made this equal on all four sides and stuck it in a frame, it can be displayed that way. Which would be, you know, it's kind of like having a little bit of fabric on the back for it. Or you can put something like this maybe in like a shadow box. And if you wanted to put some shells or something along the bottom or whatever in the shadow box to kind of add a little bit of a decor element to it, you could do that as well. There are some things you can do. I mean, I could certainly just put this and lean it up against on my shelves, or I could put it in those the little easel holder things and lean it type of thing. So there are options to do if I really want to take one out. I would probably take it out of the plastic if I was to display it. And that's the one thing you'd want to be careful of, because you wouldn't want to ding your edges too much, kind of thing. But if I said, I want this out all the time, I'd probably stick it in a frame kind of thing, and then we're good to go. There may not be as many options once you commit to cutting down your fabric, but there are options, and those are only a couple. You could put it on like a canvas if you could find, and if you wanted to decorate the canvas behind somehow, especially if this was an even border, then you could have, and you could do, there are options. There are definitely options. But if you're afraid about cutting, that's the one thing. I would suggest maybe finding a very thin chipboard of some sort, fold the fabric over and attach it that way if you are afraid to commit to cutting down onto your borders. That's my full finishes. Now let's get going to the stitches. And I don't remember, I forgot to count. I have my regular usual amount, so we better get going here. Owl Force Embroidery Black Vintage Sampler. It's getting there. I'm super excited. This was started as a New Year, New Start in 2023. So we are coming up on almost 18 months at this point. Over a year and a half. Well, really, yeah. Once we hit June. And my goal is to try to get this finished this year. So it would be a 2-year project, which I think isn't bad considering how many projects I have. I think I'm up to 80, but I have not counted yet. There it is. So that's it in its complete entirety. So you can see the whole left side is except for a little bit like the man and the woman, they don't, well, on the left side, the man doesn't have his face yet. And I haven't done any of the back stitching. There's not much. I think the man and the woman and the mermaid down there all have faces I have to back stitch. And that might be it, actually. I don't think there's much else. This is an 18 count, what is this? Rainy Day from Bestitchme. And I am using Anchor Black on this one. And I did want to use the black and have the fabric be an accompaniment, you know what I mean, to kind of add the flavor of the background. So, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking kind of like, you know, I'm thinking, say, Victorianish London or something or other. And it, you know, it's kind of cloudy or rainy or whatever. So I kind of wanted something that was along the foggy blue sort of tones. And Rainy Day, I think I had gotten this might have been, was this a fabric of the month? No, it wasn't. I'm not sure how I might have won it in a Friday Night Fight Night or something. I just remember going through and saying this is the perfect one. Now, if we cut it down here so I can show you what I did, I pretty much actually worked over here on this side. Well, you know, even more over this. I first completed the entire bottom because what I wanted to do, I was getting a little nervous about this side border. And, you know, I mean, borders are nerve-wracking sometimes. And I was really worried kind of that it wouldn't match up. And I have been counting off of everything. Well, not up here. This woman is a little too close to the house. But other than that, I've been counting off of everything. And so far, it's all been lining up. So I said, I really, really, really want to do that part. But I first had to finish the bottom. I like this shift right here. And that will be fun to stitch. But I'm thinking I'd leave that not to the very end because I'm going to need something. This border is going to get tedious. And I do like doing the, you know, the big kind of elements instead. But I said, nope, I'm going to hold off on that. And I could have just done this part, but I said, you know what, get in all of this too. The bottom is now totally complete, except for this corner. And then I held my breath and worked my way up. And I think I had to go just a little bit past this halfway point here. And it all, I was prepared to fudge. I mean, let's be honest. What am I going to do otherwise? But I didn't have to. Super exciting. And then I think I also, oh, you know what I did? I extended this a little bit so that I could make sure all of this was going to count right. And then I think I had this little element and the bubbles. I had extra kind of floss, so I did those as well. It's still going to be part of my once a month, but it's going to get to a point where 1 month I may pick this as my, I keep changing what it is, you know, kind of like that 25/7. Recently I've been kind of doing, because I've been doing Garden of Zig, 100 stitches a day, 100 stitch a day project. I don't know exactly what to call it. My daily project. Not to be confused with my daily full coverage project. But this one will very closely. I'll do another round. So next time this comes up, I'll do another, every time I do it, I try to do a minimum of 500 stitches. I'll see what 500 stitches gets me. I might try to do some of the border and kind of plug that out. I mean, that ship is going to be a lot of stitches, but whatever. But I might try to do some of the border. It's kind of repetitive, but if it gets done, it gets done. And then maybe, just maybe, I'll give it 1 or 2 more months of the 4-week rotation, once every month. And then I'll see what happens and how I feel. And maybe come, so May, we're done with May, so June, July. So maybe come August, that one might become a focus piece. So stay tuned, we'll see. But I am perfectly, no, that's not the right word. I am confident that this could be a finish this year. It should be a finish this year, which will be super exciting. The other 3 probably won't, so it would be nice to get one of those finished. And then I'll just slot another big piece in there probably. Alrighty, so this was one of my I Spy prompts. This was the one that had to do with Star Wars. And it is Life Happens from Georgia Girl Stitching. Now, I do happen to have, I was very lucky to win in a giveaway, Megan, who's Georgia Girl Stitching, or her company is Georgia Girl, No, Georgia Girl Stitching Designs. I thought it might be Georgia Girl Stitch. That might be her Etsy. But she did a limited run of hard copies. Most of her projects are all sold digitally, either on Gumroad and Etsy, same name, Georgia Girl Stitching. But I won a giveaway, and Megan wrote me a nice little note and signed it. So that was kind of fun. Now, I did change, but I know she'll appreciate it because she changes projects to kind of fit what works for her. So if anybody's going to appreciate it, I know she will. And here we go. I plugged along nicely, I think. This is done on 18 count Darling David from Those Missing Stitches. If I had to choose a perfect fabric, it still might be Nantucket Sky from Fabrics by Stephanie. You know how much. You're actually going to see that once? No, just once this week. Every 10th project probably is on Nantucket Sky. So that might be my perfect, but this is darn close as one of the perfect fabrics that probably most things would look good on if you really needed to. Those Missing Stitches. And I want to say this year, Lynn has this one might be a permanent. She's rotating everything else, but this one might be for the year a permanent piece. So if you, this is 18 count. Remember that. I don't know what the other counts look like, but that's what it looks like. And honestly, I rave about it every time, but I just love stitching on it. It brings me lots of joy looking at it. What did I do? I changed every single thing. Instead of a black, I went with a deep navy. So this is probably $9.39 if I had to guess. This was a variegated, and I changed it. And Megan does provide DMC alternatives. I just kind of played around with some of mine, and I really liked 782. And I only, it's only for the words life and beer, and then helps will be in this color again. And I think it works really nicely, especially off of this fabric. That's the other thing. Sometimes you have to change when you change. There's the called for, here's mine. So things are going to be a little bit different. And then I did play around with some variegated. And I know, that's not something I do very often. And I want to say it's called, oh, the tag's not there. I do have the floss right here though. This is called Emerald Isle, and I'm almost sure it's Emerald Isle from Roxy Floss. If you go in the description box, it should say. And I am really confident now. I counted about 10 times to make sure that was right. Got this part. I'll do this part right here, and then I definitely will have enough to do at least those two elements. I only have one skein, so that's the thing. Definitely do those two elements, and then if I have to, I'll change those out to something else. Or I could just order another skein. And if it's slightly different, that's okay too, because Megan does use two different variegateds in this original piece. So, but I'm loving it. And this is another one I talked about Arabesque last week, and the border being really relaxing. This one is too. It's really nice, and the words, they're fun. I love the font, and I find this whole piece a really relaxing piece to stitch. I'm really enjoying it. So, and I probably would have ended up getting it from her anyway, but it's kind of nice that I actually won it, and I have a nice note from her too. So that one, it's gotten its prompt fulfilled, so I don't necessarily know if I'll see it next week, although I do enjoy stitching on it, so maybe sometimes you might see it just because. You know that I throw those just becauses in. This one, I'm just going to show you, it's the title here too, so just ignore the title, but this is Beaches and Bikinis. It's from Helen D. We all know Helen D. We love Helen D. I'll link her down below, and I'll also link, Helen has a page of freebies and links to some of her other charts that are sold at Cobweb Corner, and it might link also to all her tutorials. Although if you go to Helen's Flosstube, and again, she'll be listed in the Flosstubers mentioned area, she has playlists as well. And so you just go to the playlist, and there's just tutorial after tutorial, and so really, really helpful. Anyway, I did finish. There's my little finish. This is going to be a trading card for the ATC trading card swap that right now people are stitching for. if you still have time, it's only May 10th. I just ask that you send me whatever you've made for the trading card by June 1st. And then I will swap. The theme is summer, and if you are confused as to what a trading card is, I have a whole playlist. I used Helen's suggestions for this, and then I did change out. I used a variegated pink. Do I have the tag? No, I didn't use. No, I used the variegated on the other piece. I just used DMCs on that part, but I wanted the pink flip-flops. So the pink flip-flops, I think, are, so it's 956 and the number 31 for the purple part of it, straps or whatever they're called. This is, because it needed to be small, I needed to do it on a 20 count, and it's just a 20 count scrap. I don't know what it's called or from or whatever. So this one will probably be pretty close to the size of the trading card. There's the trading card. So if I were to put it on, just going to pretend for a second here. Let me go one side and no. Well, you get the point. And somebody did ask me in the comments, yes, I do think this is Lizzie Kate, but I want to check my notebook, see if I have it. I'm almost sure this is a small Lizzie Kate. But I do know your comment is there. I did see that. I am going to say Lizzie Kate, and then if I'm wrong, I will definitely make sure I make a correction on that. But that is ready to go and be fully finished for a trading card. So now I have 2 that I need to fully finish, and that will give me 3 for the swap. Sometimes I like to do extras because if a card gets lost in the mail, I always offer. You all are so nice. You're usually like, no, that's okay, that's okay. But I do offer to make one special for you if yours does get lost. Now, if you swapped 10, I'm not sure I could make 10 for you, but and some people have generously offered when there are problems with the swaps to make an extra one and special one for you. So we are here if it doesn't always, the post office doesn't work for us, we're here for you. All right, are you ready? So this is what this original looks like. My fabric's a little bit different, but guess what? This was totally not in the plan. It's finished. I have a full finish. Wizard of Oz tree from Tiny Modernist. This is done on an 18 count opal blue ice from To Die For Fabrics. And I don't know why I thought, I was looking for something to stitch. What day was it? I have my calendar right here. Tuesday. And I had done the requirements is the wrong word, but I had fulfilled the stitch count for a lot of my pieces, and I said, let's pull something new out and do something new, because I do like to switch it up from day to day. You know that anyway. And I do multiple pieces a day. I had already stitched on my Garden of Zig, and I'd already stitched on my full coverage focus piece for the month. And so I said, let's pull this out and let's see what we can do. And I plowed through a stitching. I had a stitching afternoon set of time. Mo was not supposed to come home on Tuesday anyway. Mo was up north getting Connor from school, and I had the afternoon to myself, and I wasn't really I don't really cook a lot when it's just me. I knew I was just doing something basic, so I knew I'd have some time in the afternoon, and I just plowed through. Now, I didn't finish it on Tuesday. I had a little bit more of the poppies at the bottom to do on Wednesday and all the backstitch, which there is more than you would think in the sense of like all the faces and things like that. I did put Dorothy's shoes plus these two are in red Etoile, and it's listed below which number I used. And I did put the Yellow Brick Road also in a goldish Etoile. I thought that was really nice. There are supposed to be kind of like little sparkly things and some stuff stitched over her wand, but in person, this thing sparkles. I don't know if it's coming up as well on the camera, at least my eyes are not that good to see, but in person, you don't have to do anything and the sparkle is just there. So I figured that was kind of redundant, you know? I mean, I've got the opal for a reason, so I'm going to let that part shine and add something extra to the design. Super excited. I can't believe it's done. I started this last May. Actually, I'm only a couple days past. I want to say I started it for Oh, I know I started it for Rainy. Oh, let me write down Rainy. Rainy Day Reads is the Flosstube. And Rainy turned, did you turn 40 last year, Rainy? I think that's what it was. And she had a stitch along, you know, for her 40th. And I think there was, you could stitch on anything that had to do either with books or was green, or was there something else? I don't remember. And obviously Wizard of Oz is a book. There's lots of green leaves in it and so on and so forth. So that was my choice. And I'm less than a week within a year of finishing. And I didn't even realize, I didn't pay attention to that when I pulled it out, but that's a happy accident. Now I am currently starting, have started Alice in Wonderland Tree, also by Tiny Modernist. It's on the same fabric. And there'll be a collection when I get done with them in the scrapbook. This is, for example, now then a prime example of it's finished, but it won't be fully finished until I finish stitching the other one, unless I know ahead of time. And what I could do if I have the same base, because I'll use the same base cardstock, obviously, on the pages, and I have to measure it. This is going to go, I think, in the 8.5 by, I do have 9 by 12 page protectors as well as 12 by 12 and 8.5 by 11. So I'll play around and see what works, whatever size. And the two trees are the same exact size, so that's not going to be an issue. But if I can figure out what I want to do as my base cardstock, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to just do a dark, either a deep blue, because that'll play off the fabric itself, or maybe a deep, like a hunter green of some sort, just because there's a lot of green in this one. And I know it's a different design, but there are kind of like green, almost like fern fronds or something or other. I don't know what they'd be called, something over there. So what I'll do is when I have more of that stitched, I may just do a kind of, I was going to say floss toss, but it's not. It's a paper toss, cardstock toss. And I'll put the projects on a couple pieces. And so then maybe that could get a full finish, because nothing fancy is going to get done to those. They are going to be interfaced. They'll be cut down, any extra fabric. But I do want some of the shine to show, because it's beautiful fabric. And I feel like the colors really look nice against it. So I wouldn't do tight up to the edges. And then and those two probably will be centered. I don't think I'll do any off centering, and they'll be centered right on the pieces of cardstock. So that will be an easy full finish, which is kind of nice, because, you know, some of the others take some time. Now, this month, my monthly focus for my full coverage is Bottled Beauty. You did see this earlier in the year. I think I might have done this one. I don't remember if I had there's a couple pieces I did in my rotation before I got Pattern Keeper, and then I got Pattern Keeper sometime around Valentine's. I think that was the Valentine's gift, was the device, and the Pattern Keeper. That's what I told Mo was the Valentine's gift. But anyway, so this one may or may not have gotten just a baseline of stitches before, but I decided to pull it out. You know I love beach stitches. This is Cross Stitch for Everyone. Yes, Cross Stitch for Everyone is who charted it on Etsy, and the designer is Fun Digital. And I did use this one for I Spy. What did I use this for? Oh, Found in a Song Title. I did Boys of Summer as the song title. And of course, this whole piece feels like a summer sunrise type of thing. Here I am. What I'm trying to do is a minimum of 100 stitches a day. That meaning I can get a minimum of 3,000 stitches on my monthly focus piece, which is kind of nice. I don't have any stats on this one to give you, but I won't do a stat until I finish at the end of the month, and then I'll just kind of do a stat. I wrote down what I started at, so I'll know at the end of the month how much I did. 18 count white aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. And like all my other full coverages, I went in all directions. There's no rhyme or reason. I did do some more here. I filled in some confetti here. I definitely worked over here as well. I think, And I'm probably going to do some more here because one of these colors I might be getting ready to zero out, or there's a big chunk that might be getting finished, and I have a few more strands to do of that. Basically, I pick a color and I go with it, you know, and I'll look, now that I have both corners, I'll look on both sides. If that shows up on both sides, I'll stitch it for maybe a stitching session. If I can do more than 100, I do. I've been finding the focus piece I've been doing in the morning after my Garden of Zig, because that one has a deadline. And I'm finding that unless I'm really in a groove, excuse me, I really am only doing about 100 stitches on it, because I do have another full coverage that gets done more at nighttime when it's darker. And that one seems to get a chunk of more than, say, 100 stitches a day, unless I'm tired or don't have the time or something. But, you know, it's plugging along. Even if it gets 3,000, that'll be a nice little chunk of stitches that we can go. And some days, if I go a little bit more, if I really don't have the time on another day, then I don't have to worry about it. I'm still on track to get that 3,000 for the month. Alrighty, so next, what do we have next? Oh, sign. Let me look my notes. Am I? Summer signs. Yes, okay. I am talking a lot today. Let's get moving here. Summer signs, or summer, it's Signs Series Summer, excuse me, from Twin Peak Primitives. And I am plugging along. I did pull this out for I Spy, something you would see at a party. Excuse me, not a picnic, a party. And there's a whole bunch of things. I originally saw this and said, oh, that must be a boombox kind of thing. I don't know if it is or not. It could be a cooler. I don't know. You'd see whatever it is, you'd see it at a party, especially a summer party, which we are getting into. Although Mother Nature, today is, I live in Delaware, if you are new, and I'm down in the coast, the beaches area. So I'm down in Rehoboth Beach. And Mother Nature's a little confused today. Today is a beautiful, you know, when summer ends and you get that first kind of crisp autumn day and the air is, you know, has a little bit of a cool bite to it, but it feels great and fresh air. That's what today is. So Mother Nature is thinking we're heading into autumn, not spring. And this whole weekend is supposed to be not higher than in the 50s and windy. Sunday might be rainy. So, you know, apparently all the nice weather is saved for during the week, and then the weekends, all the crummy weather. But anyway, this is why I'm wearing long sleeves. It's gotten cold again. I pulled this out for I Spy. It might have gotten pulled out. I can't remember if it came. Oh, it did get pulled out also for Crafts and Books. Their acrostic. I used that for an S. Summer. And here we are. This one is nice to pull out because you can get chunks of color. I don't know how many designs there are. There might be a farm one. I don't know in the Signs series. I don't know if they even have all 4 seasons, to be honest with you. I saw this one. You know I like nautical and beach and all that kind of stuff, and snagged it. So I have no clue what else there is. But super nice because there are chunks of color. And while you do change colors, obviously there's a good number of colors in this, you get a good thread in a lot of times for a lot of these, or multiple threads in. So it makes you feel like you're accomplishing something, and you can pick something, which I did this week. I picked bath house, bath hut, whatever you want to call these are. It depends on where you live, right? There are 3 of them on that border, if you can look and see. One thing I will tell you, because I stitched those 3 as a small trading card ages and ages ago. Now, I did change the colors on them because I had put it on Nantucket Sky. And so I wanted to kind of brighten them up a little bit. The blue, I have used the called for. The yellow, I'll look and see what it's called for. I might brighten that up a bit because it looks just a little bit faded in. And then the red, I did change for the trading card, but the red is the same, I believe, as the pole and the lighthouse. I may keep that one at this point just because there's a cohesiveness to it rather than throwing in a really bright color. I'll see after I have the yellow one in. Oh, I was going somewhere with that. I don't know if it's been fixed. I have found another error, and I did find it when I was stitching these the first time. The top row of this bath, I'm going to say bath hut, whatever, is missing. on the pattern. So it doesn't, you don't see that kind of red, those symbols. It starts with the white symbols. So double check if you do have this pattern, if yours has been fixed or not. And I don't know when I got this and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I'll just, if I find things, I'll point them out just in case you are stitching and you can write yourself a little note, you know, maybe stick it to the inside of the pattern or something if you know you're going to be stitching this later on. This is 18 count Carmel Macchiato by Fabrics by Stephanie. And like I said, this is a lot of stitching. Really a lot of stitching. Did all of this. I did bring down, now you can see this is going to dig in a little bit more because I had to move the bottom of the pole over, but it still looks fine. I came down, I have a few more stitches left, but I decided I wanted to wait until I get to this. I'll be pulling that color out again in a couple sessions. So that'll get finished once I do this, the red in that hut. So this is fun. It is summer. I don't necessarily, or I guess summer's coming, right? We are in spring. I wouldn't know it, but we are. I'm not necessarily a seasonal stitcher, but sometimes when it is that season, I just feel a little bit of a call more to them. This one, you know, I might measure this one out. This one could be very similar in size to On the Beach that I scrapbooked. Now they're different color fabrics, but they're both kind of that sandy, beachy, color beige theme. So they could be nice as a two-piece collection. Be two different vibes, but they're both fun vibes. It's not kind of like a modern and a vintage, although that looks nice sometimes too, kind of the contrast, right? You like that starkness sometimes. But thinking about it, that might work. That one, I would be hard-pressed to think that's going to be finished this year. And I don't think when I did my whip parade and I gave myself goals, I think my goal was to just get the first 2 tiers done on the sign. What am I showing you? Okay, this is something more recent. All right, next is the secret stitch. This is Garden of Zig, and it is from Ink Circles. And I started this as part of kind of we're gonna say a challenge thrown out by Erin and Amity of the Hathaway Stitchers. They basically said, here's this pattern. Stitch it with us if you'd like, but you cannot use the called for fabric or the called for flosses, and you can't show anybody. That's the even more fun part. You have until May 31st to finish it. And I'm not sure how the big reveal will go. I can't wait to hear more about it. I'll let you know because there's lots of people stitching it. So it's going to be so much fun to see the big reveal. I can't show you, but the only thing I can tell you is that I'm at 84%. I am super excited to be that far along. I've been doing about 11 to 12% a week at my 100 stitches a day. And I have been like every day like clockwork. I have been working on that first so that I get my stitches in. And that way, I'm hoping it won't be done by next week's video, but I'm hoping by the middle of the following week, it will be, which gives me a little bit of leeway because if for some reason the schedule gets thrown in a complete tizzy, I'm almost there. What am I at? So there's 7,100 stitches in it, and I am at 6,000-ish, 6,038 if you want to know exactly. So I am close, within 1,000. Super excited. So maybe 10 days from now, I could be saying in two videos that I have finished. I did pull out for May. I have been working on these monthly series, the May's Lily of the Valley from Cottage Garden Samplings. It's part of the My Garden Journal series. And this is old. This is probably a I want to say 2011. Let me see. I know she has the copy. Oh, 2013. It's a couple years off. But yeah, so you're looking at 11 years this has been around. And this whole series was recently on sale at 123 Stitch, but I don't know if it still is. Here I am. And you know, I'll just fold this up here. This was a scrap. This came out of the scrap pile, but it doesn't have to be labeled. This is Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie because I could tell you that fabric in 18 count every time. I know what it looks like. Now I did, if you'll notice, and in the called for, they do use variegated flosses for the words, and I generally don't. A lot of times I'll use the called for DMC, and I am, but only one of them. The other one, do you see where there's darker letters? Those letters were a darker color, and I had done the I in that darker color, and I just wasn't loving it. I think I might have had another, the I, there was another letter here too. Well, let me, no, it's probably this O. I don't know. There was at least that I had to pull out, maybe another one, and I'm just doing it in the lighter kind of, it's really mauve, but you know, kind of that color of purple, and I'm really liking it. Now, this is a mess over here. What was I watching? I can't remember. I was watching something, and I messed this up 3 times. 3 times. And in the end, it is completely miscounted and messed up, but I made it work. Needless to say, I was going to do you see the cute little snail up here? I was going to do that, and then I remembered that this is all messed up, so I don't want to count him off of that. I'll probably have to work my way down from the bottom up, because disaster. Better here. And I know there's no other stitches that go in there, so that's okay. I don't have to try to finagle like a little flower piece anywhere. But that was a lot of my stitching just right there, because I would stitch it, I'd pull it out, I'd stitch it, pull it out. The 3rd time I said, forget it, I'm not pulling it out. I just wasn't seeing it right. You know how you sometimes those days, I pulled that out, stitched some more of that, and then here you go. See, I started coming from the bottom, working my way up that way. This one will get work this month, off and on. I mean, maybe not every week. It kind of depends if I feel like pulling it out, and like, especially those words. Those words are easy. And then if it comes out for a challenge the rest of the year, then I'll get some more done on it. I did not finish April, which was the first one. I had January, February, March finished. I didn't get April finished, and that's okay. It'll get done in good time. They'll be done. That was potentially thought of as, it was called the My Garden Journal series. And in January, she does give you an extra stitch that you can do that has the title My Garden Journal, and you can actually put them in, say, like a mini scrapbook if you wanted to. I think it'd be beautiful if you had some of those flowers in your garden or somewhere at some gardens somewhere. It'd be beautiful to get gorgeous pieces of pictures of them and put your stitching with it. And so you can, you know, you can highlight your stitching with the beautiful pictures of the flowers. Next, this was a start for me, and I was looking at it and I don't remember how awful of this. I think it's this one. I picked one of the bottom 4. I'm going to pretend it's this one. And I mean, I'm not far enough along. Yeah, I think it is this one. I started this. I am stitching for Manning May. It is hashtag manningmaysal. Let me check my book here. Hashtag manningmaysal. Yes. I just jumped aboard because, you know, I'm stitching Carolyn Manning's, and it's just fun to stitch with other people. I'm stitching all the birthstones, or 5 birthstones this year, as Christmas ornaments. I think I will start 3 this month. If I do the other 2, great. If not, I'll probably start, I might start Mo's in July, which is his birthday, and mine in October, which is my birthday. But this one got started first. It is Emerald. What's awesome is you get all 5 of those patterns, which I think is really, really neat. And here I am. Now, because I am making this an ornament, I did choose a 20 count. I don't know if you can see. There is some of the lighter colors on here, which on its own would be hard to see. But once I have the dark in it, it'll be fine. And these are going to be very tightly. I'd like to have them, excuse me, finished right up to the border. So I will make whatever base I use. I generally use cardstock, comic book board as my base. I'll make it right up to the size of this and wrap it around. You know what I might do? I might do a little bit of border and put a little puffy, put a little batting underneath, and then just make them super tight And I think then I might just do a fun matching sort of hanger of some sort, ribbon of something. I'll see if I can find matching in all the different color schemes. But I think that, so that really it's just this piece. It's her design, which is the birthstone, which is the highlight for the Christmas tree. So that's where I am. So what did I say? I didn't say 20 count stone from Fiber on a Whim. I ended up going, instead of white, 20 count white, I wanted this so that it would just be a little less stark. I am using 1 strand of DMC for these because it is 20 count. I very quickly tried a 2 strand because you know I love 2 strands on 18 count. And I was just, whether it's just the Fiber on a Whim or if it's 20 count in general, because I haven't done a lot of 20 count stitching, but the 1 strand was definitely the way to go. So I quickly pulled out the 2 strands and went with the 1. And there is, I periodically mention this because it changed my world for 1 strand stitching, and it didn't make me afraid of 1 strand stitching. Karen, Needlebug. I want to say it's either video 61 or 60. I'll actually link the actual video. She has a video of how to do a loop start, 1 strand loop start, for want of a better word. And it is, when I use the Floss, is beautiful. So Sulky and Floss, I've been using 1 strand with those. And so that video has been a life changer for me. And I will link that if you've not seen it before. I know there's, actually, I do know there's others, but there was something about Karen's that just worked in my brain, and it gave it just the way I needed to see it. So hopefully it would help you too. So I will link that. All right. Now this was a full coverage. Besides my full coverage focus, I am also trying to touch, you know, multiple ones in the course of a month. My other thing, what I've been doing, I was giving them 10 days with a minimum of 1,000 stitches at 100 stitches a day. But what I'm doing now is 1,000 stitches, whether it's 10 days or 6 days or 22 days, whatever it is, it's going to see 1,000 stitches, and then we'll move on to the next one. I have found at night, I'm actually really enjoying stitching on full coverage at night when it's darker, because the lighting, and I have lights to go over my head and everything, but I find reading the charts difficult, not stitching. And having Pattern Keeper, I can look at that, and full coverage. I find full coverage. I know some people don't like it, or kind of look at this and say, that's an awful lot of stitches. I find it kind of relaxing, especially as you're filling in areas. And it's kind of like a game in some ways now that you're when you have a device, whether it's Markup Art XP or GoodNotes or Pattern Keeper, whatever you use. And I'm really enjoying some night stitching at times when I do. I'm an early to bed kind of person. So when I say night stitching, I mean like 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night. Unless I'm on a Zoom, I am not stitching probably past 9:30. My eyes are kind of like, you're done. You're done. Here I am. This did get, so this week, you did not see this. This is, my 1,000 stitches have been started and finished from one video to the next. In fact, I did 1,057 stitches on this. 18 count, 2 strands over 1, full cross. This is, I should say, a retired piece. It was charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork was Lucy Pittaway. And I do not know, so some of Lucy Pittaway's patterns are now done as kits through, is it Bothy Threads, I think. I have not seen this one as one of them. I don't know if it's a plan or not. If you have seen it and it is at this point available as a kit, if you let me know, I will make sure I put a note so that whenever I show this one in the course of the year, I'll mention that. In fact, the picture you saw was a picture of a finished diamond painting, because I can't even find it anymore as cross stitch. And as usual, I did some down here. I think I was on a roll with a couple of colors and kind of went down this way, did some there, worked in here, started to fill in, and I think I even went over here. Yeah, I kind of worked my way down. I think this is a lofty goal. I mean, it's not huge, so look at this. And did I write down my percentage? No, you know, I'll have to do that. My percentage, what Pattern Keeper says, because it's not huge, I might be something like 20% at this point of this piece, but I would really like to get a third corner done. Of course, that doesn't, then I really shouldn't be, I have no business stitching over here if I want to get a third corner done, unless I'm going down this way. But I think it would be kind of nice. I am one that I do like the comfort of knowing that I have cut correctly, which means I do like to get 3 of the 4 corners done, and then I know it's okay. We have 2 more pieces to go. This one I did start last week. This was a May 1st start with Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, as well as Paula, stitching in high heels. And it is a stitch along, hashtag arabesquesal. And this is Arabesque from Jan Hicks Creates. And Beth just put out a video this week. I was watching it last night. I had gotten to this, so she shows this because she started it. It's beautiful, totally different than mine, absolutely gorgeous. But Mo came home yesterday and he came upstairs. He's like, oh, you want to watch something? I said, sure. So we watched Top Chef. And so Beth, I still have half your video to go. We are still behind though. I haven't gotten to Restaurant Wars. So don't tell me anything about Top Chef at this point. All right, here we go. Now, remember I told you this was very soothing? It was so soothing that I had stitched this side down to here when it doesn't. If you look, it stops because then some of this comes in. I said, darn it. Now, I did need to pull that out because it wouldn't have looked right. Do you see this here? I actually was supposed to not stitch one of those because there's a bump up there. And I said, nope, I am not pulling any more out. So this flower will butt up right against the border. It is the way it is. So there was a bit of unstitching. I continued more on this middle. The border still, I'm still going to say it's very relaxing. I think part of it was I hadn't made my working copy yet. And I was just loving the border so much that I just kept going. And, you know, that's a problem when you're not looking at the pattern. I have since made a working copy and I am crossing off as I go. Which is good because I don't know how far down this goes. And then there's the big giant flower there. Did the border, did this whole element, started here, made the decision not to pull any more out. I am using, let me get the piece. And actually I had gotten a skein before to see what the color looked like before I got the hank. So I haven't, you can see I haven't cut the hank yet. But, Elven Wine from Stitchy Stuff. I had ordered the color first because I kind of wanted like a kind of a pomegranate-ish-y sort of color. And when I decided I wanted to go with it, I did end up buying the hank because I'll need it. What I have skein-wise is not going to cover it. Stitchy Stuff, she's so nice. And she's super, super nice. Stay tuned later on because you might see something from her as well. Super quick, beautiful colors. Everything I've gotten so far has been, I've really enjoyed seeing, and I am enjoying stitching with this. It's cotton, and just a joy. She stitches, or she sends very fast because I believe, what you see on her Etsy shop is what she has in stock. And you know who else stitches from her, I think? Is it Debbie? Mama Bear? Is Mama Bear stitching Debbie? I think she is. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but for some reason, I want to say she uses hers too. And I mean, she's a prolific stitcher. I love her stitching. So, I think I had placed an order and then I had seen a Mama Bear stitching? I'm almost sure that's what it is. I had seen one of her videos and she mentioned, I think, this company. If not, I've gone off on a tangent that is wrong. You know, I might want to check so that if she mentioned somebody else, I might acknowledge that. But I'm pretty sure it was this. And she loved it too. And I said, oh, that's great because I just ordered some. Anyway, I've digressed. Arabesque, Elven Wine, Stitchy Stuff on Etsy. And you're going to see, I, of course, placed another order because now I'm obsessed. And I want to do all of the monochromatics because monochromatics are my thing with the variegated. I am loving monochromatics with the variegated. Alrighty, oops. There's the stitchy stuff tag. Let me, that just fell. You know what? I'll put that over here. Okay. One last one. This one was not supposed to be worked on this week. I have my rotation, and I actually have it in the back of, this is my stitching planner. It's the Commit 30 journal. And you can see this week so far. Oh yeah, I have through Wednesday filled in. In the back of that, I have the rotation of the 4 pieces listed because I don't know about you, but little details like that, once I hit my 50s, forget it. I can't remember. So I was forever having to check which one I was supposed to do next, right? I mean, it's not that hard. There's 4, but you'd be surprised. And I checked. It was black vintage sampler. Great. No problem. After my video, I grabbed, I said, okay, I'm going to stitch on that. Very often I'll stitch on them on Friday afternoon sometimes. Give them some work while the video is uploading. I grabbed and I stitched, didn't pay any attention. Then I realized I had grabbed Fish and Chips. Okay, they're both blue fabrics. That has to be the only thing I can think of. I have no idea. One's being stitched in black, one's being stitched in white. You would think I'd know the difference. But I didn't. So this actually got 300 stitches of extra stitching this week that I wasn't supposed to, because I was thinking, ooh, I have really good towards my goal of 500. And then when I realized I needed to do black vintage, I put this one away. I am using, and this is where I am using Floss. Floss is a DMC, kind of a thicker. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be or what, but that's it cut down. So see, I've got it cut down in the strands. And then for backstitch, I'm using Sulky because I found the Floss was a bit too thick. It's perfect one strand on, this is an 18 count. One strand on 18 count, beautiful. But the backstitch, not so much. So the one strand of Sulky works just nicely for that. I mean, for backstitch, you could do one strand of white too, but since the Floss is a bit thicker, I wanted, you know, a little bit, whatever was going to be backstitched would be also a bit thicker. This is 18 count. It's an unnamed fabric from Dyeing for Cross Stitch. This was part of a 3-piece bundle on Black Friday, and it just says blues and greens. If I think about it, I'll reach out and ask her. She was so cute. She because I'm part of her Facebook page, Dyeing for Cross Stitch, and she'll remind you every month when she's put out the new monthly stuff. She put a thing there, I think, and then I think she did reach out to me because a bunch of you had gone over to ask her about Harbor Haze, because Hidden Harbor is my full coverage, and she asked me, she reached out to ask, is it more blue or blue-gray or whatever. I hope I helped her enough, but she has, because she had a couple of dyes that weren't labeled, you know, like dye recipes. And so she has now dyed some Harbor Haze. So Dyeing for Cross Stitch, it's in my description box under some of my favorite fabrics. You'll see it in there. And her fabric of the month this month is fun. I'm definitely, I haven't gotten it yet, but I think I'm going to. And so I might have to pick up some more of the Harbor Haze too. But if I think about it, what I might do, maybe I'll take a picture and put it on her page. I don't know if you're allowed to put things or if she just does it. I'll check and ask her if this is part of her color line or not. Because it's a gorgeous, gorgeous blue. And I mean, look at how nice the white goes against it. I think white would really pop on these things. So yeah. So Fish and Chips got a little bit of extra time. Next week is Spring Quaker, and then this one will come out again. So, yeah, hey, you'll see it. But Spring Quaker fulfills one of my I Spy prompts. Which one? Oh, a bee. There's bees on them. Alrighty, so that's that. That's my stitching. Oh my goodness. I talked about my stitching. All right, my plans, not a lot. Spring Quaker, well, not a lot specifically. Spring Quaker will come out now, and Manning May, I will start, next one I'm starting is Peridot. I have decided, boy, it was hard. When you look at those 4, which one do you want? And it usually comes down to 2, and I waffle back and forth for ages until I finally just say, just make a choice, right? You know, I mean, it comes down to whoever you give it to is not going to know what the other choices were because nobody's a stitcher besides me that I'm giving them to, so it's fine. So I made a choice. I've made a choice on the next 2. I've made a choice on Peridot, and then the next one I'll start is Turquoise. So they're both chosen. I've got them in Pattern Keeper, so I will start Peridot next because I'm just doing it sequentially for months wise, just because. So hopefully this weekend that will get going and that will get started. And I don't know when I'm starting my Talk to Me Goose yet. Some point. All right. I'm actually distracted because so Connor is home and they must be cooking breakfast. It smells really good, whatever it is. And I had my oatmeal. I was good. I had my oatmeal this morning. I'm good and full. I mean, I'm not even hungry or anything, but whatever it is, it smells delicious. So I am totally being distracted by it. All right, so that's plans as it is. Happy mail. Yay! So I got an early Mother's Day gift. If you were here last week, you know that Megan was here. And I had to keep it in the bag because I had to show you. Megan lives in Philadelphia, and there is a store called Rittenhouse Needlepoint. It was so funny because Erin from Hathaway Stitchers, she travels quite a bit for work, and so she was in Philly, and she had mentioned that she had gone to a store in Philly. It's a needlepoint, but it also has cross stitch in it, and so I immediately said, "Where in Philly?" And I texted Megan. I said, "Megan, I'm told that this is on such and such a street. Well, it says it right here, Arch Street, so on and so forth. Where is that in Philly in relation to you?" She said, "That's right down that's like a block away from where I work." And she said it's also a quick train, easy train ride from where she lives. I was like, oh, that's so exciting. So next time I get there, we'll have to go. Well, isn't she sweet? She knows nothing about cross stitch. I'm just going to put that out there. She appreciates it, but she knows nothing about the actual. She made a special trip to Rittenhouse to get me a little something for Mother's Day. And I thought that was so sweet, so I wanted to show you. And then there's one other thing in here that she got, which is also from a place in Philly, which she said is really cool. So I will show you that. Okay, so the big thing is, she said the gentleman that worked on, the person that worked on her at the store was super, super nice. You know, she tried to show some of my Instagram, not that I put much on there, but to show the kind of things I do and stitch and so on and so forth. And so that, you know, he would have an idea. And because Megan knows, you know, really, again, nothing about cross stitch and what to choose. She does nice when she chooses, but she ended up getting me, because she wouldn't know necessarily like a specific pattern or anything. So a lot of times she sometimes gets me books, which is fun because I just wouldn't necessarily buy them for myself. Cross Stitch Wildflowers and Grasses. It's 32 botanical motifs to stitch. Hasaki Nishisu. So that's what it looks like. And just to give you an idea, look at all these. They're beautiful. And they're super nice because they're you know, they're on the smaller side. If I look at the pattern part, they don't give the stitch count on the thing itself. And for the most part, there's a little bit of back stitching, especially around the roots area. And if you wanted to put the name, that's all back stitched. Some of the flowers have borders back stitched, but I'm okay with that. That's all right. But just really beautifully sized pieces like that one, Japanese Primrose, is 90 by 55. So really nice, fun. I can do like small little pieces. I might do at some point, maybe I'll do an ornament, not this year, but in another year for her as kind of an appreciative thank you for her gift. So she got me this, and then she got this cute little threader, which is floral, to kind of go with it. And again, she had no idea. She was like, I saw all these scissors and this and that, and she had no clue what I needed or wanted. And I said, that's beautiful. I'm almost afraid to use it. I might just have to put it out to somewhere nice. So those are the two cross stitch things that she got from Rittenhouse. She said it was a really cool place. I mean, for someone who doesn't stitch, right? And super, super, super helpful. And they do have, it says myneedlepoint.com. So they do have a website. And then, I can't remember. Oh, I wonder if that's the name of the store. No, I think it was Home something. She said it's a really neat store. I'll have to ask her. So if you're in the Philadelphia area or whatever, and it has a bunch of like obviously home decor stuff. So this I'm going to use somewhere here in my craft room, but someone in Philadelphia loves you. Isn't that cute? Isn't that adorable? It's a cute little Megan did say it'd be another fun place for us to visit. I don't know where it is in relation to Rittenhouse, but so fun. So I got, that's my, well, it wasn't mail, it was actually given in person, but super nice and fun little Mother's Day gifts that kind of go with stitching to boot. There was one or two things that I want that I said, Connor, you can get me XYZ, and they're not. One is stitching adjacent and one isn't at all. It's a cookbook. But Connor was thrilled with that because May is also finals time, and so basically saying, here, order this makes their life a lot easier. All right, so what did I do for shopping? Not much. I went a little crazy with some flosses, but other than that, not much. I did need my Michaels. I don't know about you, but it's the same DMCs they never replace. I don't understand it. After 2 or 3 visits, which I don't go that often, maybe every 3 weeks or so, but if I can't find one, because I try to have, this is my DMC wall, I try to have at least one of every one in each of these drawers, just so that I never have to be completely stuck. And it took me a while to get that, but I'm at the point now where there's at least one. And what's really nice is if I can have 2, right? So I'll every once in a while go through the drawers and see if I need to up something, especially when I get one of those $5 or $10 rewards things from Michaels. Why not? But they seem to not replace the same ones. So I needed to get a few DMCs that Michaels apparently refuses to order. And in the process, I just got nothing exciting. I got another piece of this 20 count stone from Fiber on a Whim because I'm not sure. If I cut it properly, I can probably put all 5 of the what I'm calling Manning ornaments. I mean, I don't necessarily think they were meant to be ornaments, but they are in my world now. I kind of don't want to have to worry so much about cutting and measuring ahead of time. So I ordered another piece of this and figured this way I'm set when it comes to working on those. And then this is, what is this? This is 18 count. Yeah. I don't have a lot of neutrals. I think you've kind of guessed that from me by now, unless I win them somehow in like a fight night, or every once in a while. There are a few like Darling David, which just attract my attention. I'm on a Fiber on a Whim kick at the moment. So I did pick up a little bit of, it's called Cream and Sugar, which is very neutral. I am loving the variegated flosses for monochromatic pieces. And so there's 2 ways you can go with that, right? So you can do vibrant, in-your-face fabric like my Celtic Dragon, right? I mean, that's Phoenix is really, but it accompanies and it helps bring out the pattern because it's a dragon. So you put this on this beautiful Phoenix thing and you're really just the dragon's gonna pop. But sometimes you don't want the fabric to be in the foreground and in your face. You need it to fade and have the design work for you. I mean, picking fabrics is all about how you want your design to work. And sometimes the right color fabric will actually make your design look better. And sometimes it will, kind of distract or confuse. So I figured a piece of 18 count is perfect, of neutral 18 count, because, I love my 18 count. Maybe I'll get a 20 next time too, because, sometimes the smaller pieces I'm loving at the moment. But sometimes I don't always have those neutrals that I want to kind of be a bit more subtle. I am still all about my kind of brights, colors, and everything else. So I'm not going away from those because I truly do believe I love being able to use color to enhance my pieces. So that's not changing anytime soon. But then I also, and I'm just going to use, I'm going to use Cream and Sugar right now as a little backdrop because I picked up some more flosses from Stitchy Stuff because I'm on a mission to kind of try all of them at this point. She has several purples, and so I bought 2 hanks because there's one I want to do a piece with. I haven't decided which. And then I just got a bunch of small skeins. I feel like her prices are pretty good. I don't really know, but they seem good. So I've been working with it. This one's called Victorian Rose. So very pretty purple. I have some pastels here. Well, not all pastels, but this one's called Just Peachy. I thought that was fun. And again, I like to use these either monochromatic or I'm going to use them very thoughtfully in a piece. I'm not going away from, I love my DMC. And I think it's just perfect for most of my pieces. But, every once in a while, if I want to change it up. For example, the beaches and bikinis, the flip-flops that I did on that piece, I did on a variegated, whereas I might not normally do that on other things. This one was Tropical Sunrise. This one I kind of wanted just like a bright kind of in-your-face yellow, so I picked that up. Then I have, this one's more neutral. It's called Stormy Sky. I like a good gray. I'm a fan of gray. We have Rosewood. Kind of the burnt orange kind of things. I have a whole bunch of those. I'm doing the birthday piece I started last year, something of autumn from Owl Forest. It uses the Owl Forest threads, which I didn't buy, but I thought it'd be fun to throw in some of these in some of the places rather than, there's one or two of the called for DMCs, especially the yellow, that I think I would change out. So I'm on a mission to get kind of all of those kind of burnt sienna orangey sort of colors from all the different companies. And then Summer Sky, because you know I can't not do a blue, right? So I picked that one up too. I must always have blue. Then I couldn't decide between these two. I want to do Modern Folk Embroidery. He recently put out a dragon. Surprise, right? I can't remember what it's called. And I meant to like look it up and then show it to you, but I didn't. And I want to do it in purple. So I have two different purples here. This one's Eggplant. Oh, I could see using purple for so many things. And this one's called Cerise Noir. So it's a little bit more, that one's on a little brighter side. And the Eggplant's a little deeper. So one of these, I think I want to do the Modern Folk Embroidery full coverage with. Not full coverage. Modern Folk Embroidery Dragon. Not necessarily on this. In fact, probably not. I'll figure out. Again, this is one where this dragon, I don't necessarily need it to pop in the same way as my Celtic dragon. But I want the color to complement as opposed to fade. Like this here, you know, it's kind of fading into the background a bit. I want the color to complement. So I'll have to work with whatever color I choose and go from there. There was something else sent to me from Stitchy Stuff, but you'll have to wait a minute for me to show you that. Actually, no, you don't have to wait because we are moving on to giveaways. So that was my shopping. Mostly flosses because now, you know, it's just fun to play around with those. This week or past week, the giveaway was $10 ink circle gift certificate just because I am loving stitching on Garden of Zig. Obviously, you can use it for whatever you want, but I was enjoying that so much. Oh, I was gluing earlier and I have little glue bits all over me. I don't think you can see though. I'm really a mess right now. I am definitely usually either have ink on my hands or glue all over me. So I'm kind of one of those, I'll call it mad scientist sort of crafters where I'm never put together. It's a good thing you really can't see me. But anyway, I pulled a name from those of you who said the word circle. And I don't know, Tamara or Tamara, I'm sorry, whichever one. Or I'd be really interested if it's another way. I'm going to say Tamara. Tamara Wesley 17. Congratulations. If you could get me your email address so that I can send you the gift certificate. I don't know if I cover my face. Congratulations. You won the $10 gift certificate in circles. Now, we are actually going to do this week and next week because I had originally asked, I think it's Deb at Stitchy Stuff. I asked her if, you know, with their way, with Etsy, sometimes it's a little funky, but, you know, I'd love to do a gift certificate, you know, so somebody could go and pick and choose. And she said, I don't know how to do that, but I'll send you a hank of whatever you choose. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And then she said afterwards, oh, I sent you another hank just because she knew I wanted to do them as giveaways. Well, I want to promote her as much as possible because she's really a lovely person. So we're going to do back-to-back giveaways. This week, one of the hanks, and next week, another. And so this one is the one she sent, and it is beautiful. It's called Sage Leaves. Look at that. I don't want to untwist it because it is just gorgeous. So this is called Sage Leaves. I'm not going to show you next week's until you come back. So you'll have to come back. And this is from Stitchy Stuff. You'll get this hank. I think it's 50 yard hank, cotton. And say the word, because it is awful out there today. Say the word cloud, because that's all I'm going to see for is a cloud all weekend long. C-L-O-U-D. And I will pick a winner next video. I have a few back giveaways. Everybody's gotten back to me, but I'm saving to do one run of the post office. So if you've won in the last few weeks, I can see it. It's sitting right here so that I can do I do a bunch of them at once. Post office run. So cloud for the sage fabric. You know, I'm just going to put them both in that bowl, the blue bowl, so I know where they are. So that's it. That is all of the stitching stuff. Whew. If you are heading on out, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I hope you have a fantastic week. And before I catch you leaving, if you're still here, bless you if you're still here. I want to say for those who this weekend can be it can be a beautiful weekend and a very difficult weekend. I say this and I think this every time we have holidays such as this. It's Mother's Day here in the US this weekend. And again, it can bring great joy or great sadness. So I'm thinking about you. I'm hoping you have a lovely day. If it is a difficult time for you, I am thinking about you, and I am just wishing you the very best as you work your way through the day. You have my thoughts. And whether you're honoring a mom, a stepmom, a mother-in-law, an aunt, a mother figure, a mentor, whatever it is, however it is, then I hope you enjoy having a chance maybe to honor them or be honored or whatever it is, right? There's so much in this world. There's so many ways to provide kind of motherly care to people. So I hope whatever that happens to be in your life, that you get a chance to honor it and enjoy it somehow or other. All right, so if you're leaving, have a great week. Other than that, so Megan and Liz were here last weekend. It was super fun. They stayed till, they were debating Sunday or Monday, and I said, go back Sunday night rather than working on Monday, because they have to work remotely, and then go back on Monday night. I can't really spend time with you anyway, so go get back to your apartment, relax, and just start your week there. So that's what they did. Mo left Sunday afternoon, had a horrific 7-hour drive up to Connecticut. It's only supposed to be between 5 and 5.5. I think he hit traffic every place he went to, every state. But he got up there safe and sound. He was supposed to pick up Connor on Tuesday, but again, between papers and finals and papers and all that stuff, Connor needed an extra day, which the school had given until Wednesday, like noon, to move out anyway. So that wasn't an issue. So Mo just worked remotely another day and then went up and got Connor on Wednesday. And Connor does have a summer job, yay, in Massachusetts. So Connor is here for a couple weeks just to visit with us and for us to get a chance to spend some time together. And then they'll be heading back up again near the end of the month so that they can start their job and work over the summer. Super happy, because I know Connor was stressed about that and not sure what to do. I mean, obviously you can pick up summer work down here. I mean, it's a beach town, but kind of wanted to start doing things. Senior year for colleges next year, and kind of wanted to do things that kind of match. Connor is a double major, actually. So match their major and so on and so forth. And it was a little dicey and iffy because, there's not a lot of options out there. And, but they found something, and I am proud of their initiative to do that. They will be able to stay at the college, and they'll just have to drive to the job each day. But there is housing available. So that is fantastic in that sense too, because that's always a worry. So summer for Connor is set, and, Megan's just doing her thing and working, because that's what you do once you get out of whatever school you happen to go to, whether it's high school or college or whatever. You start to work. So yeah, this weekend will be actually quiet for Mother's Day weekend. One, because the weather's kind of going to be crummy, and Mo is actually, we've lined up on our test schedule apparently. Well, it's because I was behind in getting my colonoscopy. Mo is set for his second colonoscopy this year, so he is scheduled to go this week. So that means obviously can't eat the same amount of things. We're already within 7 days, so there's things that have come out, and I really liked how I had prepped the 4 days before with how I changed my eating habits. So I'm going to have him do the same thing, because I feel like that really helped with the final pre-prep day and made it not that bad. So, you know, he's not going to be, I'm going to be cooking for myself and or Connor, depending on what Connor wants. Connor's a vegetarian, so does not look for meat because I don't cook meat. So we'll see. I don't know, but it'll be kind of thrown up in the air. And Mother's Day, next weekend might be nicer. We already did the celebration with Megan. Connor will be here for at least another weekend after this one, so we'll see once Mo is through the test on Thursday. So that's it. That's all I got. I'll be the driver for Mo on Thursday, and I have to stay there. So I'll have to pick a good car piece. What do you think's a good car piece? Because it'll be at least an hour wait in the car. Hopefully it's a nice day that day. I can open up the windows and such. Well, I am there because you can't go in the building because you have to stay in your car. So yeah, I don't think cinnamon stars would work. I know many of you want me to finish cinnamon stars. Maybe a monochromatic piece would be good for that, for the car. We'll see. Anyway, that's my big rockin' plans, is being the driver on Thursday for Mo's colonoscopy. That's it. You know, that's all right. I'm just taking each day and loving it and enjoying what's here in front of me. So I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. Like I said, I hope this weekend brings whatever you need and it's the best you can possibly have, type of thing. And yeah, that's about it. And as always, you are important. You matter. So please take time to do something you enjoy, whether it's cross stitch or something else in your life. Take that time because you are super, super important. Oh boy, I can't talk anymore. I guess it's time to go. Until next time, happy stitching.